Hi, I'm Bex from channel bexbugoutsurvivor, and I brought with me a hammock cocoon tonight. So a lot of experimental prototype ideas for tonight really. So your guess is as good as mine to how warm I'm going to be. Hello fella, hello. I haven't got anything for you, mate. So that's what we're up to. It should be I'm getting attacked. It should be a nice old night tonight. It's one of the longest nights of the year. Plenty of daylight, plenty of time, get out of shot for us to ow! Plenty of time for us to get our act together. I've got more choice to span the tree because I've got my whoopee system. So whirls my lobster. So for the actual cocoon, I'm using the Snug Pack cocoon. So the straps are up. I'm using lightweight beaners, and I have an overhand loop here connected to the beaner which comes round, and I've used the marlon hitch, and I'm using the beaner as the actual spike. I'm using a prusik to hold mine up. So it's cocoon to beaner to a prusik onto my whoopee connected in a permanent state to a beaner which goes around a tree, and as we saw, we just do a marlon hitch to hold it in place. This is going to be nice. Can just alter a couple of aspects that I don't like about it. So if you're not familiar with a pod or a cocoon system, you want to stay with me on this, because sometimes I do struggle with the under blankets, like I was saying. There's too many elastics that I've got to play about with. If I get it too tight, it doesn't work. If I get it too loose, it doesn't work. This just hangs on both sides, and then I unzip it and get in. I like the simplicity of it. I love hammock hanging. I don't like messing around. Think of it as a big sleeping bag that goes around your hammock, and all I have to do is fold these top bits in and sit in it here, and I've got myself a really decent under blanket. If I want, I have zips here which close from foot to head, and this section will be my top blanket. I'd get in. Simple. On its own, I've had this down to about certainly 10 degrees, just in my shorts, t-shirt, 10 degrees Celsius. And I've had it down to nearly 0, and I think I'd have preferred a pad in it about that time, so I bought one with me. So there you go, here's my under blanket. No fiddling about. Anyway, when I was preparing for a summer camp, I wanted just to use the Solscape bivvy and my reactor sleeping bag liner as a top layer system, and a very lightweight under blanket, a down under blanket, and I never got a chance to use it. I ended up putting on a softy suit. So I brought them with me tonight, just out of my own curiosity, just to see if I sleep in my sleeping bag liner. This is a Sea to Summit reactor, and my Sol Escape bivvy, which has a metallic finish. It's very quiet, it's not that crispy stuff. Whether I could just not bother zipping up the cocoon, just have that section on. If I do need to zip up, I will, and I'll know that this isn't an idea for summer. But a lot of what I'm doing tonight, I'm not really going to know the answers until tomorrow morning, what works, what doesn't. Okay, quick change of topic, and I thought I'd share this with you for anyone who fancies giving hammock hanging a try. Obviously you're going to hear over and over again, look out for the widow makers. They're the branches upstairs here that are dead or dying, or just look like they could come down at any second, because if they come down, they're coming down with a hell of a knock on your head. But not a lot of people would realise this. If I was to go from this tree like I first thought of, I'm going to have to look down as well, and there's this huge root system here. It's very hard, it's been there a long time. Now if my knot or my line was to snap or fail, I'm coming down on that in the middle of the night, and that would split my head open. I found another 2 trees about a mile or so that way, and I could have had them. But between the 2 trees I was about to hang, there was a tree trunk sawn off, and that was between the 2 trees where I wanted to pitch. Same thing, if my suspension would have failed, I'd have gone down and I'd have landed right on my back, and you know, that'd be me paraplegic. So it's not just above you need to keep your eye on. Keep your eye on the ground as well. See what's safe, see what isn't. I've already had to kick some stones out the way, and if we come back to camp here, you'll see that these are the safest trees I could probably find. I've looked up, they're all pretty healthy, but there's no guarantees. But I can always look on the floor here under the hammock. There's no tree trunks, there's no rocks that I'm going to land on if that suspension does fail. It shouldn't, but it's not worth taking the risks. So if you've got the right suspension, it goes up quickly, I unzip and get in. This is why I like pods, this is why I like cocoons. And anyone who's been put off by hammock camping in the past because of these issues, I wouldn't give up. I have a look at cocoons and pods, and they're very, very easy to insulate, to get it down into even colder weather by using a pad and a further sleeping bag as well as the cocoon, which I've done on a couple of occasions. Anyway, let's dive in the pack and I'll show you the pad and how I've packed the actual pack. Now this is my inflatable 3/4 length, this blue thing, and what I've done is wrapped it around the edge here and shoved the cocoon in it. Now I could have rolled the pad and had it across the top or on the bungees below, but I just thought I'd show you a different way of packing roll mats. 2 litres or 2 quart US LRRP. This is my basher, which we're going to have a look at in a minute. And last time I took the snug pack under blanket and top quilt, or whatever they're calling them. I put them up and I actually hung them all off a ridge line. It was a tarp ridge line, and I tried suspending the under blanket that way. My back and my feet and my legs were pretty warm, but my backside was enough to spoil the whole night. It was freezing. CBS, cold butt syndrome. So 3/4 length inflatable. Now if you come in and have a look at this, a fleece blanket that I got from the supermarket. It was on offer, it was a £5. So all I've done with the fleece blanket is I cut it to shape the actual 3/4 length inflatable, and I've stitched it along here. Now that doesn't look like my stitching, mine's a lot more crude than that. Well, perhaps it is, and I'm better than I thought. Oh, look at that, I'm better than I thought. No, but I just put 2 locked stitches about every ½ inch just up one side to fit my inflatable, and it does one of 3 things. People who like using mats but don't use them because in the morning they'll slip down to your foot end and your bum will be off it completely and you'll get cold. They don't like using pads because of that. Well, this system here will allow for this pad not to slip. It's also very nice to lie on if you've only got your t-shirt on like I have. And what would you know, them bulls are back. They're not cows, they've only got one udder, and I should know, I tried to milk one. Now some people have great success with their underquilts, and I love underquilts. They keep my shoulders nice and warm, and my legs and my knees if I sleep in the fetal position, which often I do in the hammock. But sometimes my back, my shoulders and my butt will freeze cold. No matter what I do to this under blanket, no matter what I do. I'm on my 2nd or 3rd one now, and yet some of my homemade makes for hanging hammocks have been more successful than what I'm buying in a shop. So I like the under blankets because of the shoulders. I like the inflatable because it keeps your back warm, but it misses your shoulders, your hips. So combining an underquilt and a very, very lightweight air pad, and it's all systems go. And I know a lot of people will think, well, I'm not carrying an air pad if I've got an under blanket. And you know, it's fair enough if your under blanket works, but if you suffer CBS like I do, what we talking here? 3.5, maybe 400 grams for a 3/4 length, bit more for the surplus. It's nothing. I'd rather carry another 500-600 grams and be safe in the knowledge that my backside's going to be warm. There you have it. It's a lovely system and a lovely alternative to an under blanket. You really have to treat yourself to a cocoon when you get the chance, especially if you're toying with the idea between cocoon and under blanket. I've got the entire snug pack range, the under blanket, the top quilt, the cocoon, the hammock, and out of them 4 pieces there's only this cocoon that I can honestly say that I like a lot. And I hope you can see from that angle, I'm just lying on top of my hammock with the tops folded into the hammock, and as you see, perfect under quilt. I've also got the air pad underneath me for my shoulders, and like I said before, down here is going to be my top layer section that I'm just going to trial for tonight. And if the Solscape bivvy and sleeping bag liner doesn't work, here's what I'm going to do. Just pull the cocoon sides up and over and zip up. We've got a couple of badgers that are frequenting this woodland. I've seen them a few times. If they know I'm here, then they just run off. Somewhere out there where we was the other week is where the fox is. So kettle on. don't forget, I can pick up a cocoon for around 80 quid, and it counts as top and bottom insulation. My complete cook set, the fuel for it. Now last time we spoke, I'll have shown you a black recon pack, and here I am with patrol pack in multi-terrain pattern. But I can assure you that this, if we come to the back of it, is a 38 litre. Now the recon pack that had everything in originally fell apart, and I had to bury it in the back garden. It had died, but it'd seen me through a couple of years, and I am looking into the 50 litre recon. That is a lot dearer. It's the Viper, and it's around 60 quid. That's a hell of a difference to the 15 quid that I originally spent. And I did say 15, and it lasted 2 years, and it was my favourite. And when it died and started to get holes in it, I cried like a little baby. Okay, now fuel in. Lovely little catwicking stove here. Hardly takes any fuel. I'm just going to let that wick before I light it. An ideal opportunity to test a lot of different things. And tonight I'm going to use this to make a suspension system, and I don't even know if that's going to work. It's all trial and error. Now I am waiting for a lot stronger rope to arrive. It should have been here today, but it's not. It might come out tomorrow as well. I haven't decided. I might make this a 2-dayer. I don't know. I haven't really got the food for it, but there you have it. Go on. I'm just going to make a little pot of coffee and start packing up some things. Make sure the fuel is well back. I brought with me just the 200ml, and I'm hoping that's going to economise the water. Now I know I've got 2 litres, but if I can get through the night, including drinking water and things like that, with 1 litre, then it's 1 kilo less to carry next time. Here's my little LRP. Let's open it up. I've had to put some sterilising fluid in this to clean it out. It's tasting a bit funny. Inside here, I bought one of these. It's a little Robinson's shoot thing, and you put a little squirt into your water and it flavours it, and that would last weeks and weeks, months, and I keep it in here. So if I want a refreshing fruity drink, I just put a little squirt of that in with the water, and I carry it along there in the water. Now also here's what I sterilised the actual LRP with these Milton sterilising tablets here, for baby bottles and so forth. And I was wondering if something like that would even sterilise stream water. Surely if it will sterilise baby equipment, it must sterilise water. And if it does, I paid only 75 pence for a whole box. There were 7 strips, and what, 12 to a strip, 75 pence. Now that's going to work out really, really good. Now I have googled whether I can use Milton steriliser or sterilising tablets for water, and I can't get a definitive answer. So there's only one thing for it, and that's to try it and have a toilet nearby. Yeah, I'm not sure whether I like this little 200ml for a brew. I'm used to a 600ml, and I'll usually have 300ml of coffee. And you got to remember, when it comes to rationing 2 quarts of water with a small cup like this, that you can only live for 3 days without water, and only 3 minutes without a real coffee. And the way I test a system usually is by seeing what it is I'm wearing when I wake up. For instance, we did a summer camp and I slept out just in a softy suit, and I know I was good down to 15 degrees Celsius, so lesson learned. So with a jumper on under my softy suit, I'd have been even warmer, even lower. But with this configuration, what I have here, I haven't tested a sleeping bag liner in conjunction with a sleeping pad inside a cocoon and the sleeping bag liner inside thermal bivvy. But I'm quite impressed with the cocoon, and in hindsight I wished I wouldn't have bothered with the snug pack under blanket. This is the snug pack hammock, and the last few times I've had this out, all it has done is try tipping me out, and it's doing it again. I don't like it. I don't know what it is. It seems to want to come higher on one side and lower on this side, and it has an effect of tipping me like that. And I thought it may have been initially a problem up here with some suspension, but it's not. I'll show you the British cheapo hammock, so much nicer than this snug pack one. Plenty of sunlight, and it's got to be, let me just count, 4, I can count over 4 fingers each being a centimetre from under the sun to the horizon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, each finger being an hour. 5 hours before the sun goes down. It's one of the longest days of the year. So I'm going to have to keep my eye on time, just so I know when to go to bed. I'm going to put up my basher. Now this inside here is the British Army basher come stretcher, and it's really, really good. But there's a hell of a lot of weight to this. I haven't put it on the scales, and I don't know, but it's got to be 1.5 kilos. It's a heavy old thing, and you've got to remember that the whole snug pack cocoon is less than 2 kilos, and this, just the basher alone, it's too big, it's too heavy. But I do have a very small version of this, and it's very, very light, about 600 grams. So why didn't I bring that? Well, it doesn't quite in a diamond configuration or an ASIM. It actually is an ASIM configuration cover the hammock should there be a downpour. If there was a side wind, it would wet the cocoon, or even worse than that, if I had down insulation like duck down, goose down, it's the last thing you need getting wet, and I just don't like being wet. This is a little bigger, it does cover more of the hammock. So even if I was just to swap this out for my little cheap basher, I'd have saved 1 kilo. If I'd have swapped out the cocoon for the down one, there's another saving of at least another kilo, maybe half a kilo. So in total, just changing from synthetic to down and getting rid of the tarp for something 1/3 of its weight, we're looking at a saving of 1.5 kilos, and already I've taken 2 kilos of water out of my pack and onto a shoulder strap. So that's 3.5 kilos that could be saved. It's worth thinking about. Top time. So it's an opportunity as well for me to use the little tent peg hammer and lightweight stakes. Of course, it's not the only reason I bought this was for the stakes. It's so, like I said, it's a good digging tool, and it's so much better than my entrenching tool. One of my entrenching tools is just huge. I wouldn't even want to carry that in my bug out bag, yet alone just for camping. I've got a little plastic shovel. It won't go through some of the harder terrain. This will. Now there's only one thing left in the pack now to finish the basher off with, so don't go away while I put the finishing touches to this. There. Okay, I really seem to be getting somewhere. I'm getting a lot of jobs done here, so I'm quite pleased with this. Let's show you camp. There we have it. So, it's a lovely little setup. From a distance, the camo is working pretty well. And I have a thermometer for tonight. It shows an inside temperature and an outside temperature because it has 2 thermometers. One is on a long wire, which I'll probably put somewhere out here at the end of the tarp, and the machine has another sensor which shows the inside temperature, and I can flick between each on the digital display there, and this way I will know for my own benefit and curiosity what kind of kit will go down to what temperatures, because you cannot believe temperature ratings when you buy a sleeping bag or an under blanket or anything. The only way you're ever going to know is to test it out. This is absolutely madness. It's look how bright it is. It looks like it's daytime. It's actually night time. I won't be far off making myself my hot chocolate and turning it in. I am going to have to check the watch and keep my eye on it, otherwise I'll be up until midnight and then I'll be all tired in the morning. So, another job I said I was going to do was to test out some suspension and everything, but I have the wrong hammock set up to do any testing. But what I can do is start making, which is why I bought this cord, so I can make things. And hopefully in the morning I might have got this little project done from this cordage, and we'll see if I can make something that works. Right then, I'm going to start this. I'm going to have another brew. I might just go and stretch my legs for a bit as well. Look at the little mayflies. Loads of them. That is a sign of warm weather. And warm weather tonight. But it's okay, it's only the female of the species that bites and causes you grief. So all you've got to do is sex each one of them little gnats and you'll know which ones are biting you. Look at that. That is nearly 10 o'clock at night. There's my pasta soup. Now I thought I'd knocked my spirit burner over. There seemed to be that kind of aroma. It turns out it's that. I keep doing this, leaving my spoon on the floor. I'm going to have to sterilise that. Actually getting quite tired, and I haven't had a very good weekend, or week actually, with my back. I've been in a lot of pain with it. The next few campouts are all very different. I've got them all written down. We've already done a few of them, and they've been filmed and they're just waiting for you to see. I am really between a rock and a hard place, knowing whether to carry on buying from retailers to be let down with camping kit, or just carry on doing it my own little unique way. And the last few campouts have been my little unique way of bringing stuff out that I know works, and that's going to be one of the episodes coming up. It's just a whole bag of tricks of all my favourite things that I know works, and we're going to take them all out. Okay, good night guys, and I'll see you in the morning. But first we're going to have a look at the inside and outside temperatures. 11.1 Celsius, ignore the time. 14.7. I haven't zipped up yet, and I've got my smock on, but I can feel the breeze already. So I'll try and bring you more temperatures, or at least tell you how the sleeping bag liner is performing in conjunction with the little Solscape bivvy. 24.3, that's on the inside. Let me just click to outside. Outside it is 10.8. Inside with me, quick reminder because I forgot myself, 24.8. Wow, that's more than double. I'll tell you what, I'm going to put it in Faraskew as well. 77 in and 51.7 out. Okay, I'm charging up some battery devices, that's what the lights are. But I would say that the sleeping bag liner and the Solscape bivvy working together in tandem there, it's obviously working very, very well. And I've only partially zipped up the cocoon, but I'm going to carry on with my rope project. And if you get no more temperature readings and you see the flashcard coming up, you'll know that I've fallen asleep. Right, this is definitely your last look. 29.9 inside. It was just 30. And 11.1 outside. It's 3 times hotter inside than outside. I slept like a dream, I'm going to get a temperature reading, and the sun is up. 6:30. I woke up a little about an hour ago, but I just went back to sleep. So definitely an inflatable pad is required for me, regardless of what hang system I have, whether it's an under blanket, a cocoon or a pod. Lesson learnt there. The hammock itself is trying to tip me out. It's low on the left, high on the right, and it's not the first time this snug pack hammock has done that. So I think I'll do something with it other than put it in the bin. I think it'll become a hammock with a whipping on. This is my sleeping bag liner. Excuse me. And it worked brilliantly. I still would have liked the top blanket in conjunction with this cocoon. All three together, under blanket, cocoon and top blanket, I think is a must all year round for me. It stops me being cold. So every time I hammock hang, I am bringing out a pad with me. Last night, with that spare cordage that I had, I put myself up a ridge line on the hammock and put a bit of sag in the hammock and got a diagonal lie. I didn't like it. I lay absolutely no different diagonally than I do just stringing it up to a kind of pitch I like, and I've slept like that for years. Anyway, that little project what I've done is make a rope braiding like that, and I've made tree huggers. Not only is it a tree hugger, you can see the braiding a little bit better there, rope braiding, easy to do, is designed to hang your beaner. I just choose a hole in there, put my beaner through it like that, and that's worked pretty well. I'm not often on the ground as a ground dweller anymore. I don't mind sleeping on the ground, but with my back I just can't get up again. I might even take these out next time with me. I got a good span as well on these. This is the one that was tipping me out of bed. It did it last time and it pushed me down to the bottom again. It's only this hammock that does that. But this, I'm going to put a whipping on the end and see what happens. I'm not blown away by the Snugpak range at the moment, but next time I'm out are all my favourite things that I know work. And I've combined them into one pack, and it's not that heavy either. Snugpak for me, take it or leave it, I don't care. I'm going for the goose down from now on, and I know it's a lot of money, but it's the way forward. Till next time, take care of yourself, and I'll see you out there. Happy trails.